to talk about next was kind of redefining ourselves as former athletes and kind of assessing our identity, right? So there's this time period, right? It's very finite for those 1%, like you suggested, that make it to the next level. Great. They keep going. But for that other 99, guess what? Real world hits you pretty fast. And so how are you prepped for that? And I think the best advice that I could give for someone who is coming out of that phase and transitioning into like the real world.
We're the hardest working podcast in Portland, Oregon, man.
Play
No.
game.
Hey.
No. Games.
Podcast.
Slash show.
Oh.
Show.
Oh.
Ho.
Different area code. Welcome to the Play No Games podcast slash show. I'm your host, Rob.
I'm Arthur.
Your mic doesn't work still. Yeah, that's for the dirty comments you made. Yeah, soundboard this. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Welcome to the Play No Games podcast show. We have this mysterious person that he'll introduce himself in a second because we got to give him a glorious introduction. He's not a regular smegular person. But I just want to say shout out to the viewers, yo. I want to say shout out to the viewers is because lately we're breaking highs. We're having higher consistencies, especially on YouTube. So I want to say major shout out to the fans and viewers for people sharing because we're getting out there. I really want to say we are definitely getting out there. But more importantly, the reason why we're getting out there is because we're trying to put you all on a higher vibration, higher frequency for self-improvement, for relationships, and most importantly, you want to finish it? You want to finish it?
No, because you said the one I usually say.
Okay.
What's the last one?
Oh, damn, I forgot. I'm not going to lie. We just trying to help y'all. But more importantly, donations, you'll see that in the across our video and things like that. But please donate to $ Hero Rob. It goes to me actually investing into the studio and potentially paying these guys. The holidays is coming, and I'm feeling like Scrooge. Let me tell you, I'm gonna have them working during the snow. Be like, we gotta do a podcast, guys. But you want to take it away, my good man?
Yes, sir. It's been a while. Been out of the loop for a little bit. But our first segment is called Play No Games. It's positive, negative, informative, anything you want it to be. All you gotta say is I'm gonna play no games about this. And we'll start with you, Robert. What you playing no games with today?
That's perfect because, we didn't talk about this, but I'm liking how this went. I'm not going to play no games about introducing our guests. So, no, this is perfect. It's perfect. Before I do that, I want to introduce, now you know the game that we are playing. I want to introduce, and we got to get a close-up of this guy. What can I say? There's not many people I would, go to the hospital for, you know what I'm saying? There's not too many people I would watch them grow, fail, and grow again. And this is my brother from another mother, the coach from the most, the best coach from, he's better than Bill Belichick. There we go. Yeah. We got Jordan Latt on the show.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the right button. Y'all gonna hear this? It was supposed to be claps, but I hit the wrong button. I should number these.
He's fired. He's fired from the soundboard.
RJ, we need you. I clicked the wrong button again.
My God.
Jordan,
Man,
welcome to the show, man.
good to see y'all, man. It's been a long time coming, but yeah, I'm happy to be here and help put people on some different vibrations. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, Jordan.
Man, it's a long time coming. Quick side note, because we're unscripted. Your mic is working fine now.
Look at God.
God did.
Is it because of my knee holding the cord like this?
I don't even know. But no, you're perfect.
I'm not gonna move my knee.
No, you're perfect.
Good.
Your mic is perfect.
Let's get it.
Stone cold.
Hey!
Yay!
But just like my good brethren said, I'm breaking character yet again. I want to do another major shout out too as well. Major little update. You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
Do we gotta do it real quick before we get into the games?
What?
You just came back from somewhere.
Huh?
Show did.
You just came back from somewhere.
From the heat?
Oh yeah.
It was 102 for like 3 days straight. I got like 4 shades darker.
Darkness.
Yeah, you know, I'm a walking shadow right now. It's all good.
Stop the
I love the
cap.
dark. You hit the wrong one.
No, I hit the right button.
Ah, shit.
I hit the right button. No.
Nah, I just got back from nationals for touch rugby. We finished 3rd out of 12 teams, 6 teams? No, something like that. We finished 3rd. And I was not only announced as player of the tournament, I'm the nation's, I guess, leading player in my position. And I did pretty well for my first national, so it was pretty good. I got selected as a nominee for the USA Touch team too as well. So it was a pretty big weekend for me. It was a lot. I was tired. It was hot. I played a lot of games and ran a lot, and my feet got 2 fat ass blisters and they hurt. So I came back tired, but it was dope. It was all worth it.
Congratulations! Yeah.
You getting better, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You know, well, Jordan's not any regular guest because, you know, I'm pretty sure he'll drop by again another time. You know, won't be his only time, but I know we're kind of doing things all over the place, but we got to do this all over the place because that was a major thing that I want to make sure before we kind of get into, just to acknowledge. And let's just say if we had another guest because we had to be more professional, we probably would not talk about that. We'll save it for later. But
I wasn't expecting to talk about it, but you know, it happens.
Because I'm your friend. We got to improv. But
I'll bring the medals next time.
we got stun on them. You know, them haters and the views.
Yeah, you know.
I got haters and the views all the time. I love when they watch it first. But I want to defer back to the regular schedule program because we will be playing no games, what you talked about. But
yeah.
I will talk momentarily because I want to give it to the guest of honor. Jordan, what are you playing no games about?
Facts. First of all, the opinions expressed today are completely my own and do not in any way, shape, or form reflect the beliefs of my employer or the university. Now, with that,
Nobody watches our show. You're okay.
What if they do in the archives at some point? If they do, I want to play no games.
I love that.
I want to play no games as a community, man. We need to do a better job in this fight against freight trains. I am sick and tired of driving downtown in Portland where you already have infrastructure to where it's not meant to accommodate this increase in population. The last thing I need when I'm going to work at 7 a.m. is a train to go through the heart of downtown for 15 minutes plus, or going through the heart of downtown right after work at 5:30 p.m. We need to do a better job as a community to say no and create a no-fly zone type of hours where you can't just run freight through the downtown. Like, that's ridiculous. There should be nothing running between the hours of like 7 to 9:30 a.m. and the same goes for 4:30 till 6 p.m. and try to keep traffic running through freely.
That's interesting.
I am not going to lie. I wasn't expecting
It's annoying.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all.
So I can safely say that you didn't like Thomas the Train growing up.
No, it's not. It's not nothing against him. It's just certain counties can regulate those rules, but I guess from like my research, there's it's more of like a nationwide regulation that trains can go through at all hours of the day. But if yeah, which is kind of messed up. But if your county regulates it that way, then they have to abide by it. So that would just be something we vote on in
Monoma County. He calling you out.
Multnomah County.
Yeah, I feel about bike lanes. I actually do feel about bike lanes because every day there, you see a junkie with a needle, bike lane. Someone smoking a crack pipe, bike lane. I'm like, no more bike lanes. We gotta really help those people out.
Interesting.
So that's how I feel about I'll give. All right, you play no games about that. Is that it? I don't want to cut you off. Anything else that we should know?
I mean, since we're on the homeless situation,
Jesus Christ.
I'm not playing games about having to walk into oncoming traffic. That way I can avoid your tent setup. So what I would suggest is rather than allowing homeless to set up camp, or what we call urban campers,
like this.
and outside of residential areas, we got to have like designed. There's a ton of empty parking spaces that we don't utilize for like event parking and things like that. If we have like some, not like a Woodstock '99 type situation, but yeah, like open spaces where they're like designated for camps that aren't, I guess, detrimental for local business owners. I think that would be a much better solution than what's going on right now, because you have people who were very pedestrian friendly and commuter friendly city, obviously. So I don't think it's safe that people should have to maneuver into the street to avoid the homeless.
Yeah, downtown Portland's like a Skyrim side quest. You're like,
shit.
Don't know what I'm gonna get myself into.
But obviously, I mean, you gotta get people the resources to correct some of the issues that they're dealing with mental health, because that's what's keeping them on the streets in the first place. So instead of like putting a Band-Aid on the situation, kind of addressing what the root cause of it is as well.
I think I have to agree. I think being able to just be more like focus on not like territory specific, but like the easing of like impediments, like impediment camps and stuff like that are blocking like everyday living, like you're saying, like, because I think it's being more detrimental to like regular society than allowing them to just like move somewhere like across the street or to a parking lot, like you said. Like there's so many building areas that are vacant, shut down, closed. I just drove by like 5 on my way here that are just like sitting there, and it's like, how can we utilize some of these alternative spaces to give people an opportunity to kind of set themselves up. And I think for them, like, I don't know, I'm not a homeless person or really know too many people that are homeless, but like I think with like a stationary spot for them, I think it'd be a lot easier for them to kind of be functional instead of having to move and focus on moving and taking their stuff, or not worried about things getting stolen or whatever the case may be. So I have to agree with you, Jordan.
Yeah, big facts. What am I playing no games about? I'll keep it short and simple. What am I playing no games about? What's been on my mind? I think I'm not playing no games about physical therapy. I've induced myself in my own physical therapy. For y'all who don't know, stretching is powerful. A lot of times I think I'm invincible, not the show. Come back for season 2. If you get it, you get it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. yeah, taking care of yourself. I have and dealing with strained shoulder and not still. No, this is a recent injury. This was from hoops on last week. So
I thought you heard it. Hurts. Would you hurt?
no, I got a crook in my neck. That was then.
Yeah, first thing I asked him was, all right, who hard fouled you? Because I've been in these runs too. I'll let him explain what happened.
I don't need to explain. It was just a 6'9" dude, and I came off the screen like he held me doing that Dennis Rodman bullshit, and I was like, "Look here, I already had a crook in my neck from Tuesday and it recovered, and then like he just snapped my neck, but I was cool in the evening. But Friday I woke up, but neither here nor there. I'm playing no games about Robert's PT recovery because it's been going great. Like, so I'll just say, take care of your bodies, y'all.
Man, always important, always important. I think mine's more on a sadder-ish note, kind of more trying to promote positive. Play no games about the hurricane in Florida, in Cuba, and a lot of those places right now. My thoughts and prayers are out to the families that are struggling or has lost someone, and I just missed it, which is crazy to even think about. I was in Orlando the last week, and our tournament was actually supposed to be this week originally, so it got pushed forward, just out of the blue. So it's crazy how things work out. But I pray for the families and stuff that are down there, and hopefully they can be safe and take care. And it's not a bad one. I hope it's not a bad one down there. So yeah, that's what I'm playing no games about.
Oh no.
Go ahead. What's next, Robert?
What's
first on the agenda?
What's next on the agenda? Like, if you listen to us regularly, we're all over the place. But we're all over the place because we're scrambling because there's so many important things we have to say. We have to shout out AJ. We have to shout out the guests. We have to shout out the unique guests. So we got to get back to it because we have a special person here. So I am actually a master journalist. So we're gonna start. We got some questions for you, sir. So I uncovered that you really weren't a sports guy. Like, you just stumbled into high school. You were actually
what are you trying to get at?
I'm just saying. It's just like, I'm a master journalist, and I found something, and it was, saying that you were against sports, and then something happened in high school, and you decided to do sports.
I don't know what instance you're talking about.
Damn it, Braxton!
But
Braxton says so. Better question is: so we have first time, long time. Yeah. We have hailing from Lewis and Clark, Eugene. We have a full blown college athlete on the show. And I guess the very first question I want to ask, and what I was alluding to in what Braxton poorly helped me with, was how'd you get started in your journey in sports?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, like I've known the guys since back in the day, University of Oregon, Sco Ducks. But yeah, my athletic journey kind of started pretty early. Picked up soccer. My dad reffed our first grade team, went undefeated, and kind of fell in love with guys like Ronaldo for Brazil. I really liked following those guys, and eventually like Ronaldinho and them. Played basketball, obviously. MJ was my guy for obvious reasons, but then once he was on the tail end of his career, like AI was definitely an inspiration for me, just because he was just like an average built dude who had a killer mentality. And I feel like I kind of relate to that a little bit, but I was never like, I would say like an elite athlete. Growing up, I just worked harder than everybody, So when I got to high school, I still really like soccer. And I like basketball, but I got to a point where politics got involved, right? So politics are involved with high school sports, like whether you want to Believe it or not.
What you mean about politics?
Bullshit.
They're all over.
If your family friend is on staff, or if you have a parent, I'm not gonna mention no names,
mention names.
but yeah, if it matters. It matters if you're tapped in. And I'm a kid who I like kind of moved neighborhoods a lot, and I don't fault that at all because it's built my friend group up so much, and I feel like I needed that to kind of step out of my shell a little bit to like reset and have to make new friends and like portray myself towards like how I wanted people to see me. Whereas if I was kind of comfortable in my own little zone, that I would never have picked that up. I was actually really shy growing up. So sports definitely helped with that because you need a voice. You need to be able to communicate, right? But anyway, where I was going with that was, so when I got to high school, I realized that just because you're the best at you're better at a certain position, or, you have a certain mindset or a skill set, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make a varsity squad, if that makes sense. There's a little bit of like hierarchy that kind of comes with that, and a little bit of brown nosing too. So shout out THS. But anyway, I kind of found my own way, bro. So I went out for football my freshman year. Never played flag, never played Pee Wee, none of that. Just like backyard tackle with the friends. So I had zero concept of like coverages or plays going in, just from what I had seen on TV, right? So my first year of football was actually kind of rough because I spent a whole year just trying to learn the playbook. And it's hard. Like, people kind of fault like football guys as being like these like dumb meatheads that don't really have a lot of, I guess, ability to pick up concepts and things like that. But football, I'll tell you, is like one of the hardest sports to just pick up and emulate in a team setting, just because there's so many moving parts. Not only do you have to know your job, but you have to know the person, your brother's job, to the right of you, to the left of you, to know where to be at certain spots and certain timing. So I kind of underestimated that a little bit. I just thought, I'm like a fit dude and I like to hit people, so this is gonna be fun. Like, it's like, and I definitely hit people. Like, I was a banger for sure, but like, wow. But no, like, first year was definitely a humbling, like, learning experience for me. And then I came out for track because I had that soccer background. I played midfield, so for those who don't know, like, midfielders, they're expected to run up and down the entire length of the field to initiate offense, and then once you come back, you're supposed to help on defense as well. So I was like, all right, I kind of got some good speed. I got some endurance. I'll go out for track and I'll run the 400, which is one lap. And kind of swung varsity my first year, and I was not going to do that in football or basketball. So I was like, all right, we might be onto something here. And I kind of fell in love with the sport, to be honest. I studied it a lot, and I ended up getting a really good coach my sophomore year, who had been to an Olympics. He didn't actually compete. He was just a alternate, but still like somebody who has been in a very high level setting and like knows what it takes to get preparation wise people to where they want to be and actually plan out a goal system. Helped me immensely. I ended up shaving off 5 seconds off my personal best in the 400 between my freshman and sophomore year. And a growth spurt definitely helped with that. I mean, I think I grew 4 inches and put on 30 pounds of muscle. But I mean, I can't not address that I had like a much better coaching plan going into. So, at that point, I started getting approached by like smaller schools, and this started being like more of okay, I might be able to pursue this post
Mhm.
high school. So
Okay,
kind of
okay.
found my way.
Well, being a master journalist, sometimes sources, say things,
Here we
and
go.
I'm just being honest. They say things, and I'm just like, they were like, oh, he was more focused on, anime, and then sports. So I was like,
Bro, I was gaming for sure.
it's all okay. Master journalism works.
I was gaming, bro. I don't know if y'all ever knew about a game called Lineage 2. It was an MMO kind of back in the day, but it's kind of similar to like World of Warcraft. Like before World of Warcraft came out, I was invested into that shit.
Okay, great. Okay, see now, hey, run me my title back. See, I was finding stuff. All right. Now, AJ, you have anything?
Nah, what like made that? So you said like you having a good coach and kind of like getting that spurt of like, oh, I can be good at this. Kind of gave you that like push start. Did it take away from any other sport, or was those other sports you still playing, or?
Honestly, it kind of did, and it wasn't until after my sophomore season when I like actually went for a school record that I kind of dropped basketball at a competitive level just because I wasn't going to make it past JV. And so in turn, I replaced that with winter track. So I was doing football, and then basically the other 2 seasons I was doing training for track.
Oh, wow.
So I still liked basketball, but it wasn't going to be really beneficial for me to play in a JV basketball league when I could just be getting ready for outdoor season.
Yeah.
But I still got a love for all sports, and I think me being a coach at the youth level, I'm very encouraging of kids to try a lot of different sports. Sometimes, especially nowadays, certain coaches get very fixated on, oh, well, this kid, he's going to be the next stud running back, or he's going to be, the next all-state point guard or something like that. And they want them to stick with one sport year-round. But what they don't get in that is working certain muscle groups that you wouldn't normally trigger in just your sport. And not only that, but like being comfortable learning something new and being in an environment where you're not fully in control. That was big for me too. It's just like always wanting to pick something up and then let the athlete or let the child determine, okay, well, I tried that and really gymnastics wasn't my thing, but I can always go back to this because I have time. And I feel like parents, especially at the youth level, man, they just feel like there's no amount of time. Like the Olympics are in 4 years and we got to train now. Like no, like let a kid be a kid, man, and just kind of figure it out for themselves. And they can always go back to that thing that you want them to be so badly. But guess what? When you force it upon them, even if they're the best in state and this and that, and they're going to nationals, they're not going to want to do it typically in spite of you.
I feel like, good.
I think that's like one of the most important things you just said right there, and just that whole phase, like allowing a kid to be a kid and not forcing it upon kids. And I think AAU, we're doing a huge downfall with that, because it's like if you're not playing AAU, you're not good. But it's like now you're telling a kid he can't have a life and be a kid. We're going to go to this tournament here. We're going to go to this tournament there. Yeah, you get the opportunity to travel, but you're also playing basketball 365 days a year. And it's like,
burnout is real.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I feel like this is a perfect segue, because one of the things you do now is coaching with youth, and then coaching, holding school records at the high school and college level and turning that into coaching. And I feel like this kind of opens up a pretty good avenue for us kind of talking about coaching mindsets, as AJ brought up with, 5A, as you have been talking about. Because, I think to kind of open things up, I'm going to play devil's advocate, because if you want to be a tennis legend, you got to be at 10, 9, and 8. You got to be on the circuit. like I hear what y'all are saying because I look at, and people gonna hate me for this, but he my nigga. LeVar, he all three of his sons currently, because Leandro might get cut from training camp in the next 2 weeks.
As soon as Miles
Currently,
figures out his legal stuff.
yeah, currently he has 3 sons in the NBA, and they all follow his regimen. Not to saying that they didn't enjoy their life, but I'm just saying, on the back end, if we were overseas, right, they got soccer academies, and they got people coming out the fetuses being like, "Ooh, kick that ball," and then you got Ronaldo, and then you got Koss.
Messi.
I was trying to
Neymar.
Ted Lasso. So I'm just curious. Like, how do you have those conversations? Because like, yeah, I just want to take the devil's advocate, approach, because some of our greatest athletes, LeBron was, KD was running up hills, when he was 6 and 7, So like, how do you know or have that balance in those sports?
I think it's something like 75% of the athletes in the NFL were varsity in a second sport or even 3. At least at this last draft, 75% of them were. So, if we're being devil's advocate and saying that, yes, in certain sports, specifically tennis, that is something you have to put your attention to or your effort towards pretty much year round in order to actually be elite in that. Then I would just kind of argue that, like, to make sure that you and the child are on the same page and agree on like what the expectation is, and just let them know that, like, hey, if you really want this, you're going to have to sacrifice certain things, whether it be in your social life. Where I've watched the Serena and Venus movie with Will Smith. Like, he's stuck on him with the grades too, but like, you kind of have to make a choice, and that's difficult to ask an 8-year-old to do.
Not me.
But hey, that's real life lessons too.
Son or daughter in the future, y'all gonna be the first lawyer playing tennis, basketball. I'll be like, look here, y'all gonna take care of me. I'm gonna be Big Bob brand. That's what it's called.
That's the thing. That's a good point too. They had a plan B because these kids were smart as shit.
Oh, they did have a plan B.
I think that's where a lot of kids mess up, is they don't have a plan B. It's just all gun ho towards plan A, and it's like 1%, make the NBA, or 1% make the NFL. It's like, and that 1% just gets smaller as you get higher, and so it's like, when you really break that down, you gotta have a backup plan, because even if you make it, you only last 5 to 7 years tops, and then you're out, or you're on a circuit somewhere else, or you're overseas, or you're broadcasting. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think we have to challenge kids to always have a secondary backup plan. I'm not saying don't lose focus on your goal. Like, this is your goal. But as you begin to succeed through your goal, man, I'm also learning how to do this. I'm also learning how to read and write really well, so I can be a journalist, or I can talk on TV, or whatever the case may be. So after I'm done with my goal, I can go have my own 5-star restaurant. I can go have my own business. I can go have whatever I want, So I think that's the thing we have to teach kids the most.
Oh, no doubt. And I guess I'm curious, because we're, talking to, I like to speak into existence, a future head coach, on the way climbing the ladders. You alluded to this, and also to you, AJ, you alluded to as well, as you both being accomplished athletes in the 5A circuit. I wanted to ask you, as a coach, how do you reach not your star athletes, but just all the members on the team? Because, like you said, a lot of people focus on, like, this next kid's going to be the next AI. And for me, sometimes coaching is a bit of like psychology, where like you got to know your personnel, you got to teach. So I guess for you, I'm just curious, how do you navigate all the personalities and the strengths and weaknesses of a team when you're doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. A part of it is definitely balancing the difference of personalities and how student athletes receive information. So you might not come at one individual, especially in a very transitional period. Like, for instance, at the college level, there's a lot of kids that are away from their family. They're already kind of like on edge emotionally, right? So you have to be cognizant of like where they're coming from or what they might be dealing with that's not necessarily being outwardly portrayed at practice. And the biggest thing that I've kind of picked up just in like my last few seasons of working with young men and women is establishing that trust first. Because if you don't have the trust established beforehand, then your words don't really hold leverage. So establishing the trust is definitely a big one, especially for like incoming freshmen. So doing activities or like exercises that will kind of get people to open up a little bit more and share their story or their background or where they're coming from. That way they feel like, oh, okay, this is a safe space where it's like everybody has the best interest for me out here. So I don't have to feel jaded. I don't have to feel like I got to put this shield on when I'm here. Cause when I'm here, I'm with family. So that's definitely number one. But it's honestly just a ongoing learning process. Some kids, you got to give them tough love. Otherwise it's going to come in one ear and out the other. And they're going to be like, yeah, whatever, coach, fuck that. And some kids, you got to check your energy before you go to them. It's like, all right, let me bring it down. All right. Use that, light boy. And sometimes you got to talk to them that way, but you're only going to figure out who to come at in certain ways until you've had enough interactions with them. Or sometimes it's just trial and error. Like, oh, that didn't really work. So let me come about this a different way next time.
So allegedly you want to Bart Simpson a couple of them. Like,
man. Just kidding. I love y'all.
I think what Jordan is saying is very important too. Like, yeah, I think he hit it definitely on the nail, and it's interesting that you talk about like, because I see that more like youth, and so you're talking about it with like young adults, that are transitioning to as well, and I feel like, so like you're talking about it like with young adults, and I think it's interesting that you're saying a lot of the things that like I would use towards youth with young adults, and it's like the same. Like, so it was kind of funny hearing you say like, like when it comes to having those like tough conversations with like college athletes, what it has been like your biggest like hurdle you have to jump through?
Biggest hurdle is empathy for me, just because my background is coming from a very like hard-nosed, like we're going to get after it or you're going to get left behind type of environment where it's very cutthroat at the Division I level, especially like any FBS Power 5 school. You're going from FBS Power 5 to Division III private school, right? So that was the biggest adjustment for me. It's just like changing the mindset a little bit to be more empathetic and also being cognizant that college sports at the D3 level, that might not be somebody's like highest priority. It might just be their pre-med program or their pre-law program or even behind their outdoor enthusiasts club that they're on campus or something like that. So sometimes you're coming from a environment where it's very like athletic driven to, okay, athletics are kind of the supplement to the other three things that I have going on, to where it's like, all right, coach, like I need to give you like 30-40% of my capacity because I'm working with all these other things that are kind of taking precedence over that. And so that's kind of a gut check for me at first, because it's like, not everybody is as passionate about this sport as I am. Like that's crazy. Like
That's interesting.
yeah. So being understanding of like if that is more of a social outlet for them, even though they are competitive, or if it's like something they really want to be gun ho about. And all right, well, remember in the fall you told me that this was your goal, and we need to get there, right? So like let's stay on track with those goals, and this is what we need to do. So kind of aligning what the expectation is at the beginning. That way you can kind of shift people back on course.
So you know how like in I think believe it's called He's Got Game. What did he do? Denzel was like, "Give me that ball, boy. You ain't good. Let me show this old man strength." You ever had to cut somebody? And if you did, what was that? How was that experience for you?
I never have had to cut someone. I've had to like discipline to the degree where we, have considered like, do we want this person to come back?
Oh, you was Roger Goodell.
But I've never actually had to make that judgment call. But yeah, I think it's for the betterment of the environment. You have to like weigh everything. Like, okay, sometimes it just takes like that gut punch, not literally, but like mentally, like, hey, maybe you should take a step back from practice for this week, or just get your mind right, and then have the athlete think that over and think like, dang, like I'm really not out there with like my friends, and I'm kind of like pent up with all this energy now. Like, you know what? Maybe I kind of did take that for granted a little bit. Let me come back straight, coach. So, and I'm cool. I'm always on board with mental health days. So sometimes somebody's just bringing down the vibe or bringing down negative energy towards the group, then we'll tell, hey, let's take a pause. How about that?
You'd be like, Johnson, mental health. Mental health.
But they be using them days a lot, though, a lot more than I ever remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Question: from being a high competitive athlete at the D1 level, like you said, going down to Coach D3, and then you have those young adults talking shit, trying to compete against you. How do you like compose yourself to be like, bro, don't let me lace up the spikes? Like,
no, like that's part of like my game, at least while I can, is I let them know on the regular. I put them in their place. I will hop in workouts, absolutely. And I feel like that adds another layer of credibility, because it's like, I wouldn't ask you to do something that I cannot physically do myself.
Yep, absolutely.
And so if I am there with them, it's almost like a camaraderie thing where it's like, we can do this together. So I think, yeah, with certain of our athletes, yeah, definitely like that shit talk back and forth. If that's what they like, then I'll do that, right? So I'll try to come at them from an angle that they're used to, because I'm like the younger coach. You can kind of talk shit with me a little bit. I'll talk shit back. So yeah, I'll at least do that until I can't anymore. But we're getting pretty close to that.
Okay. Allegedly somebody on this couch beat you in a race, so I feel you where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, do you want to lace them up?
Stop the cap.
I mean, I stay ready.
Stop the cap.
Yeah. But I learned some tricks from a person last time. I'm not gonna say
I would love to see this race, by the way.
But
Oh yeah.
We
raced before, but
yeah. Can I ask you a question? I'm fast, right?
Robert is deceptively fast. I always say that.
Yeah. Yeah, for all y'all niggas think I'm just buff out here. I'm out here. I can get with them. You know,
That's
And
hilarious.
surely he's much faster than anybody who is a personal trainer at some local gym who just lifts biceps and chest all day. That's all I'll say on that.
Got him. We fucking got him.
I can't wait for you to hear the playback. Oh my god! Oh, perfect sound. It was a Drewski sound. That was perfect. So
That's
to
hilarious.
wrap all this up. One of the things that we kind of because we're gonna be doing a podcast takeover for the last 20 minutes. This guy, he's got some things for us.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I kind of wanted to, I know we've alluded to it, but I kind of want to pay homage to it. But you are, you are, and were a D1 athlete. And besides of you just explaining how that went and just you being an athlete, I think the better question to ask you is, what was your greatest moment just being in a D1 athletic atmosphere, and what's something that maybe like the public may not know that was your favorite memory, or that is breaking a record, or just being with the team? What was so like important and like just being in that element of a D1 athlete that most people dream to be and do?
Yeah, especially coming from the University of Oregon, that is a very like sought after destination for a lot of kids, not only around the U.S. but like overseas too. We had quite a few international athletes, so I definitely don't take that for granted whatsoever. But I would say even more so because like I was kind of alluding to, Division I sports being a business, it is very performance driven. By the end of my junior year, honestly, I didn't want to compete anymore because it was so like high stress, high expectations, right? But I ended up competing my last year because I loved my teammates so much. And I didn't want to feel like I was letting them down. That was the only reason why I competed my last year. And thank God I did, because it was the strongest and it was the fastest I've ever been. I ended up breaking the top 10 in the indoor 400 meter that year. I'm sure it's no longer stands because we've had a lot of solid athletes come through since 2015. But at the time, it was 10th best. And that was a relieving moment for me for sure, just because I was kind of struggling before that. And my guy Josh Malu, he was in the stands and he recorded it for me, and that was a really cool moment just because I kind of had a lot of like pent up frustration that I was able to go out and I executed. It was at a meet in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Would definitely not recommend going there for anything other than a sporting event. It's the worst.
That's funny because my cousin coaches at University of New Mexico.
Yeah.
And so it's
Albuquerque is not it, bro. You're not gonna see a lot of people that look like you and me, but
No.
yeah. Anyways, it was just like a relief. It was like a weight lifted off my chest when I ran that 400 in my heats, bro. And although that was really cool, and my fellow teammates were like really juiced for me, more so than any like athletic accolade I've had. I've gotten more of like a feeling of accomplishment, or more of a feeling of like being proud when I coached a team that went to nationals at the youth level. Like that, like I got teary eyed, bro. Like that was just crazy to me.
Oh,
So
wow.
like it, just to like see them, put in the work from day one to like actually getting to the national meet. It was for my 4x1. It just kind of like renewed, I guess, my passion for it. Because honestly, like right after I graduated from college, I was pretty turned off by like track specifically. But that definitely like hit home for me. It was just like, seeing the fruits of their labor, like kind of being executed.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I definitely want to say is I appreciate you sharing that because
That's dope.
as a civilian, and I like to represent for civilians. I'm out here headhunting these college athletes because when I beat them, I'm gonna let the world know, and I ain't gonna challenge them again after I win. So, I'm gonna say that
One and done.
one and done. But one of the things that I will just say that obviously, if you were paying attention at the beginning, Jordan's one of my best mates, and let's just say I got the opportunity to see, or I get the opportunity to see like the brotherhood and the sisterhood of these D1 athletes, and like being able to see like the behind the scenes stuff that most of y'all don't see what they're talking about and like how they are. Where like the only thing I can equate it to is like people who podcast. Like if you got over 15 podcasts, 2 missed guests, and your mic don't work from time to time, you can't talk to me. You can't fucking talk to me. You haven't been in the trenches. So that question came from there because, just being like a fly on the wall, I've heard a lot of different we'll just say blue check mark people like thoughts of behind the scenes of like what it truly means to be a D1 college athlete, because it is another job while you're at school, and just from that perspective. So that's all I wanted to get out to the people.
You should let them know your schedule when you were a D1 athlete, so people understand like the schedule that you had.
Yeah, for sure. And this kind of goes into a topic that I wanted to bring up anyway, where it's like being at a Division I program, or really any program that has a sort of like structure for a student athlete is huge, especially when you got kids running around 19, 20, 21 years old that if they're bored, guess what they're going to get into? They're probably going to get into trouble, or they're going to get into something that's not productive or healthy habit. So when I was at Oregon, for instance, pretty much every hour of every day was predetermined for me. So there's literally no room for me to fuck up, because I knew where I had to be at all times, pretty much. If I wasn't in class, or if I was at the study hall, and if I wasn't at the study hall, then I was at practice, or I was at weights, or I was trying to sleep and get my nutrition in. So how that kind of leads into what I wanted to talk about next was kind of redefining ourselves as former athletes, and kind of assessing our identity, right? So there's this time period, right? It's very finite for those 1%, like you suggested, that make it to the next level. Great. They keep going. But for that other 99, guess what? Real world hits you pretty fast. And so how are you prepped for that? And I think the best advice that I could give for someone who is coming out of that phase and transitioning into like the real world is keep doing those tendencies with like having your schedule created and having consistency in your life, and keep goal setting, like, because you're already programmed to work towards those things. Now you're just refocusing what the actual objectives are. And I feel like that's going to be much more productive for you to be successful, right? So if you're, say you want to be a graphic designer, right? That's your career path of choice. Even if you don't have all of the experience that somebody who went through that kind of program does, because you were so involved with your athletics at that time, research, set the time aside to be like, all right, can I plug into a couple online classes, or like what kind of free outlets are there for me, and really determine that you're going to set you're going to identify what the necessary prerequisites are, and then you're going to emulate that and then go forward and then know what a ideal type of position or what an ideal type of environment is for a graphic designer. That way you have a realistic end goal in sight. So like for me personally, my girl, I love her to death and love you, baby. But she kind of gets frustrated sometimes because I'm very much on like go. But like that's just how I'm programmed and that's how I kind of respond. So yeah, I would say if you're not kind of outlining where it is that you want to go and what the steps are that takes you there, then you're probably going to backfill that stuff with unhealthy habits, right? You're probably not going to be sleeping well. You're probably not going to be moving around as much. So yeah, set those out and then make yourself accountable, or like have somebody, a buddy that can help you be accountable. It's big.
You know, listening to this, I actually think I'm a D1 athlete too. I was
Be a D1 athlete in whatever it is that you're passionate
No,
about.
I was a D1 RA. Like, you know, I was out here writing them. I was out here writing that shit out. I was like, he's smoking in the doors. How quick you have to do it. You know what I'm saying? I was out here.
I truly couldn't see you as an RA. That's fucking hilarious.
I was out here
crazy.
not snitching. Like, I was out here not. So, like how the reason why I bring that up is like, also, not, actually, I'm actually far removed from this. I was writing I was a horrible RA for the school, but let me tell you how much shit I let go. But anywho, I actually appreciate you bringing that up is because, that regiment of like, who are you? Because sometimes, because I'm only speaking from like a civilian lens where like we're told from a very young age that, we got to have this and that, but it's almost kind of like, what they call it in basketball? Is it the AAU or something? The AAU circuit, right?
Oh, yeah.
I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's kind of like some of the times, like you can tell a lot by a kid or just a person or athlete where like basketball was their only thing that they were thinking about, where I'm like, yeah, okay. And like, that's a privilege. Like, what you're in is a privilege, and you not thinking about what if this doesn't work out is arrogance, because everyone, like, not too many people don't think that they're going to be the next best thing, right? And like, I really appreciate you speaking that humbleness of like, I may not be the next Usain, or I may not make that, and it's all about having a regimen of like what else and having my passions on the side. So not side, but also coincide with growing with me in the sport. So I think that's very profound and dope. And I think that has to be even taught at the younger age where like, yeah, I want you to be this, but what happens if this doesn't work out? So
Yeah, I think kind of also going on top of that is with the humbleness of realizing that you don't have all the answers, maybe get tapped in with somebody who's been there, or somebody who is doing what you want to currently be doing, right? And in some way or form, like establish a mentor in some way. I mean, the kids got these phones on them all day, every day. So why not reach out to somebody especially somebody who's like in a position like I am, who's very like social and approachable. Yeah, for sure. Like if you want to reach out to somebody like me or somebody that you look up to, just for guidance, who has been there, like, okay, what realistically do I have to look out for, is huge. I mean, you got access with social media. You have so much more access than like what our parents had growing up. We got YouTube and all that stuff. So it's like, I mean, you probably had to like write a letter or something before, So yeah, you use your platforms, use your outlets to really get you the answers, because a lot of the groundwork's already been laid down.
Yeah,
you just gotta find it.
What's next in the Jordan takeover of the podcast? What else you got on there?
I mean, you didn't mention, but I guess recently got engaged.
Oh, you want to jump into that now? Wait, I got a button for that. Well, that button doesn't make sense, but I just want to press it because I pressed all the other buttons. But yeah, man.
Man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna press it.
You are a sad, strange
Which
little
one is
man.
that?
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Farewell.
It's one RJ wants actually. It's the Buzz Lightyear quote. "You're a sad, strange little man." It's I just wanted to press it. It was just more I wanted to press it. It was literally I just wanted to press the button. When you listen to the playback, it'll make sense. I just wanted to press the button.
Totally.
Anyway, I've played all the things I have. RJ, shout out. So,
Oh my gosh.
I think it's very important. I have to say that one of my how I see it, you to me or my Sanji. Josh is Zoro to me. Like y'all are us together. We are the terrible threesome. And I'll just say, I want to say congratulations from the bottom of my heart because you all right, man. You are off the market. He's off the market. You ugly bitches. He is off the market. What?
I mean, yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah, you need to stop
There's a lot of
singing.
it.
That's all you need.
What? Oh dang!
there's a lot of-
Wow, y'all some haters. See, bring the fun, but no. But congratulations. How does it
Hey,
feel?
appreciate that.
You're old and married, ish.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of people ask me like, what does it feel like? Like, is it any different? This is the best time of my life, to be honest. Like this, I mean, especially when you kind of like envision things and you speak it into existence with patience and self-reflection. I mean, this is great. And honestly, the best days are still ahead. So, yeah, dating is fun. Being engaged is better. And I'm sure marriage is going to be even better than that. So I'm looking forward to what the future holds.
So I want to ask right now because I know he's thinking about it, and then you can have your question. Is AJ gonna be at the wedding?
Oh, I wasn't gonna ask that.
I know you want to go.
None of y'all are going to be there.
Damn, fuck. Well,
You are a sad,
yeah. There you go. Fuck you too. Fuck you too.
No, I'm fortunate in that I have a partner who's very much on board with not going 20, 30 G's and grand to appease everyone for a big outstanding wedding. So we're kind of both on the same page of meeting somewhere on a beach, somewhere tropical, preferably,
Oh, here we go.
and get
That's the way to do
in the
it.
loping, and then we can always do something back home with the homies and the family, kind of like a more private event. So y'all be there for sure. But
That's dope.
I'll leave it
I
up to
respect
me.
that.
Leave it up to me to throw the party.
I respect that a ton. I think it's a opportunity for you and your partner to do what y'all want to do. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people like want to do it for the accolades in the show, and it's not about the show. You know, it's about you two and how you want to do it. And I feel like if I get married or when I get married, that is something that I would do too. Something
Stop the
simple,
cap.
something small on an island somewhere, like
Stop the cap.
enough to have an efficient and exchange vows, because that shit is what 15, 20 minutes. Why spend
Stop the cap.
100 G's on 15, 20 minutes just so you can party later? Like, I'd rather go spend 100 G's on an island and
hey, put a down payment on a house.
there you go.
Something productive.
I'll be the friend who will have the weekend getaway, and I'll say weekend getaway. But one say I respect what you're saying. You, sir,
Stop the cap.
are capping.
No, I'm not.
No, the button I'm pressing is stop the cap.
Yeah.
You capping over there, Mr. Hopeless Romantic. We gonna be there front line for the ceremony. yeah. That
I'm
button.
bearing the ring.
Yeah. The bat button was for this and that bullshit.
Nah.
We're better at this button. We got him.
We
We fucking got him. Anywho, the reason why I'll say I appreciate that is because a lot of people don't take that in consideration, because that is a very intimate moment where you have to make that decision, and it's almost kind of like, you know, my super sweet 16. Like, some people get that luxury of having that ability to do that, and I feel like when a lot of people talk about relationships and marriage, they talk about it from a very not idealistic, but I want to say anomalistic type of a thing, where like
100%.
your wedding doesn't have to be like this as long as you're having fun. Because for me, at least, I get what y'all saying. I respect that. But for me, on my end, I think a wedding is important, like, community bridging thing, where I think for me, it's just as important. Not to saying I disagree with you guys, where I want my friends and family to come out and take the time out to see that I'm pledging my loyalty to this head BIC, and to know, for this person to know that I'm risking some of the assets, because my next person will sign prenup.
Oh shit.
You know, I'm just saying, like, to let my community and this person know that I can screen your name to the mountaintops. I'm willing to make this pledge in front of people, to my haters who I will live stream it to the public who's supposed to be there. Like,
Well, I mean, you gotta document it, right? So,
oh no, of course, I'm definitely doing that.
Local news station.
And
To my haters that need to watch this shit.
I was like,
Look at me now. bitch.
and it's just and I feel like you're supposed to have one wedding, because it's supposed to be a moment in time where, like, we'll just say if I do get married and things don't work out, like, I probably will never do the whole marriage experience again and things like that. But just like a moment for your boys, a moment for your girl, a moment for your family, like, yo, like, the communities are coming together, and this is such a beautiful thing. We have to celebrate this together. And I think that's where, like, our times, because how fucked up the system is, robbed us from that very, like, ritualistic thing that would happen back in the day, where you're like, man, I'm going to, to the Dixon wedding. It's gonna be nice. And, like, the times have robbed us from witnessing those beautiful things. Not to saying that, saving for a house is not nice, because when you go to a wedding, we're supposed to feed into the wedding where you don't have to worry about down paying on the house, because the people who are coming there are going to service that. But that's just my own headcanon and things like that. It's just like, for me at least, I want that beautiful experience for.
But isn't that more like the reception aspect of things, though? Like, it's not like, so I went to a wedding beginning of the month. My uncle got married, and he had it at the Sheraton by the airport, and looked nice. Reception was nice. Food was cool. The wedding itself as a whole was like 15 minutes. And for me, it's like, I'm going to take pride in my reception, absolutely. But the wedding aspect, I don't need everybody to come watch me get married for 15 minutes. Like, and I think that's that whole sense of where I have to agree with Jordan. And like, going to that aspect of seeing, like, my partner walk down the aisle and seeing and how that process goes. Like I hear it and I get it. Like, I hear, like, traditions and traditional aspects of things. Like, that's very amazing. But I also think times have changed too, into this sense of like the actual wedding and the walking down the aisle used to be longer. Now it's not. Now the vows are quick. People is ready to just go straight to reception. Some people don't even fucking go to the wedding aspect, just go straight to reception. So, like,
That's me.
Nigga, skip mine. Well, tell me that.
so, like,
I'll be there.
I feel like people have their preference and their choice and their pudding, and I think, like, traditional wedding, and I think a lot, it's just like how a lot of things are right now, even in the aspect of dating, is not traditional anymore. Like, and I think that's also what makes it so hard and so, like, untasteful to a lot of people. Like, Yeah.
And that's not to take away from anybody who like grows up thinking like ever since they're a little girl, like I'm gonna have this big extravagant wedding and like there's got to be a fountain and there's got to be a dress theme and bouquet of this color. Like that's great and that's just a preference thing. I was just expressing my preference, and like I said, fortunately I have a partner who didn't have that kind of like need. Obviously if it makes sense financially, like yeah, we'll do it. But we're just trying to be realistic right now with like what our current priorities are.
Oh no, 1,010%. This show's about us sharing all our opinions, multiple solutions, because at the end of the day, what's most important is your banners, in the rafters,
Man.
2021 when you first met her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a good friend.
Woo!
And now, whenever the marriage date is, that's the end date, and then that banner goes high in the sky. Don't ever come back to the streets. Good God, it's horrible down here. It's very horrible here. So, congratulations to both you and your partner as you embark on that journey, and I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have you on the show to talk more about that. But I feel like this is a great segue because I'm pretty sure you have some dating stuff on there. And I think we should end on one of those.
Yeah. And I think even before that, like just going back to like the being humble in knowing that when you're transitioning to a next chapter or a next phase and like re-identifying yourself is getting tapped in with someone. Like I've never been a husband before. I've been a coach. I've been a brother. I've been a son. I've been a teammate. But like, that's new territory for me. So like, definitely one of the things that's one of my personal goals is to seek premarital counseling from somebody who has been there, somebody who is in the trenches every day and kind of can give a more realistic approach to what that looks like. So yeah, like, just and that's with whatever you want to do, right? So like make sure you get tapped in with people that know the shit that you're about to get into, and then you can make a judgment call of, oh, okay, maybe this isn't what I expected it to be, or maybe this is not what I wanted after all. So it's better to make that decision beforehand, before you didn't have any realistic expectation going in. But
sold. I will be your therapist. Oh my gosh, Ivy, I can't wait to know way more about you. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm open book though. But yeah, we'll see.
I'm like Tom Cruise. I'm gonna be jumping on the couch.
But yeah, man. So obviously we got some different perspectives kind of going on right now because I'm off the market, but we got friends who are very much in the trenches, out here in these streets.
Robert.
Struggling.
Akon and Young Jeezy.
Thirsting. No, I'm just kidding. Not thirsting.
Hey, man. Hey. Only way to go. And so, if you're looking for me, I'll be on the block. That's what it's. I'm a soul survivor. I'm so sorry.
Man, I do not miss that shit whatsoever. So thank you, thank you, baby, for saving me from this horrible place.
Oh God.
Oh.
Oh damn. What you got for us, Big J? What you got for us, Jay?
Yeah, well, it's kind of like I was gonna pose a question to y'all too. It's in terms of like when it comes to dating, do y'all feel like social media has kind of killed reality or like killed the moment?
You want to start?
I'll pass it to you.
Interesting. I was literally just having this conversation the other night. Social media is like ruined. There's like positive and negative to it, but I feel like it's more towards the negative side. I would say like 70-30 negative. And just to the fact of like, I think people on social media put up a facade on like who they are, and I think nowadays, especially like in numbers, it's exchange of socials, and it like to give people a glimpse of like who they are and like this is me, like me or not, and it's like it's not a real individual. It's not real. Like I feel like there's a lot of like miscommunications and steps, and like the process now is so different. It's weird, but like I don't know. Like people are always like I felt like when it comes to social media, they're looking for something, and if they don't get that, then they're disinterested, and it could be from likability, it could be follows, it could be what you're doing, and if you're booming on social media, then they're all about you. As soon as you're not, it's crickets and teardrops or whatever. So I don't know. That's kind of a thought like aspect, but go ahead.
I eloquently put, I'm resurrecting a conversation I was having with a friend, and I would agree with Jordan's premise of like social media. It has affected dating and just relationships in general, and it's everyone. And I actually, two things going on. So there's a person I'm gonna have. I was talking to this person, and I'm gonna have her onto the show, and she asked me like, what's like the main point of like what I do, not more or less because the podcast is different, but one of the main points that what I do is I'm part of the crusade that is to help people understand the true essence of what love is, because currently social media has normalized I don't say toxic, has normalized delusions. And I was like, when I was saying that to her, I was like, that's my elevator pitch for what I am. I'm not Hitch. I'm not Kevin Samuels. I'm not all these people. I'm Robert. Like, I'm so tired of hearing men, women, or however you identify, have unrealistic standards for dating and relationships because it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come to see me, the other, I say Rob, but you're gonna see Robert. So, for helping stuff. And like, it's just people have this idea of my man's supposed to lead, my woman's supposed to lead, where I'm just kind of like, at the end of the day, and I've said this so many times, we literally celebrate LeBron, Russ, and AD getting together. Like, we want them to make it work to win a championship. But you can't have that same mentality when it comes to, oh, I'm looking for a partner. Not saying you have to accept mediocrity, but are you really giving a person a chance to grow? I know a lot of invisible men and women that people don't look at because they don't start out with 100K or build a nigga or build a woman, and they're already there. And it's just frustrating and nauseating. And I have the most passion talking about that, because not just saying like, oh, Robert's hurt or some other stuff like that, but it's very frustrating because if we really get down to it, if we get into the poison, all that stuff that happens, all that fake pseudo stuff leads to broken families. You know what leads to a broken family? Crime. You know what leads to crime? My window getting smashed. You know why? You know why my window got smashed? Because nobody loved that nigga who fucked up my car. And if somebody would have loved him, he would have hit my car. Okay? Yes, I took it there. I'm frustrated. So yes.
Identifying root causes, that's all we're doing.
Exactly. Literally the manifest destiny. The manifest destiny of all humans, and I'll say the 1%ers, is people want to find a loving relationship, whether as friends, whether as a partner, and we're robbing each other by having these unrealistic, perfect standards. So, but I can gas all day because I'm frustrated. I'm angry.
I agree. There's a lot of idolizing going on with people's relationships specific to social media. It's a lot of dick riding. I think people just got to focus on themselves. And I have to check myself too, because like I'll be out, and and I'll be trying to like document certain things, and I'm like, no, like I have to just enjoy this moment. It's important to like let people know, especially like my family who's wondering like, what'd you guys do? But like, no, like take a second to like put the phone down and just enjoy the presence of your partner and where y'all at in that moment is huge. And I feel like that's one of the kind of negatives that comes with the social media broadcasting and trying to one up the next person. And that's not even just within relationships, but just your social media presence in general.
I think with relationships, that's magnified, right? Because you're like, this is how I treat my woman, and to make other women jealous or other men jealous, like, and then it like magnifies, and now your woman is like, this is how my man treats me, and then gets upset when another woman slides in her man's DM because he's treating her like this, and so it's like, y'all celebrate these moments and post it and share it and brag about this, but then you get upset when somebody comes to come get something.
There's competition,
of whatever has been given, and I just feel like sharpening it. It's like, but it's like you're saying, like keeping up with the Joneses. Like I got to be better off than someone else. I got to be better off than them. And hey babe, let's do this. And we here and Toronto Tower. Look at our
We
view,
live.
baby.
We live. What you mean by that?
I'm just saying it's a reference. I've been in Toronto.
Okay.
No, but like at the same time too, when you start to see that, it almost takes away from like the passion or like the genuine love almost, because then you start, at least I start to question the genuineness of it. And I'm a person who loves love, right? But if you're doing like the absolute most to try to portray something to me, I'm like, something's up. Something's not right. Like y'all are unhappy and you're trying to put this facade together that everything is perfect. So that's red flags for me, to be honest.
Well, I guess I'll be in the island by myself. I'm fine with this. No, I definitely get that. But I think for me, we had a very unique upbringing. I know everybody says that they grew up in the best generation, but like we literally grew up in the best generation where we played outside and then Pokemon's on at 3 and then we went back outside, where like I feel like the generations after us have taken things to the extreme. We grew up with the computers. We grew up with Tom being like, hey, try me out, top 5. And then we got Zuckerberg. And then I feel like we have the unique balance where like I grew up having and understanding the balance where, at least for me, like a lot of people don't understand, stories are diaries. Like a story is your diary. So it's like, all right, what do I want people to see? And you got to understand, social media is a business, especially if you're a business owner, because people are tied to brands. So for one, if you know how to use social media, if you know what you're using it for, then it makes, for me, that balance, and just my opinion, that balance important, because there are important times where people think they know Robert, but I'm like, I really didn't post that. I posted this because I'm like, I want these people to see that persona. And I think for me, just for how I love, like, I did at times question that for myself, but I think for what really checked it was like, why was this important for me to show? Because if I have my little niece or I have my brother, they bring me great joy. And my thing is, I don't need to hide. I sometimes don't feel the need to hide my joy from other people. And my thing is, they gonna hate regardless. So my thing is, I'm gonna authentically be me. Obviously, certain things aren't for social media, and I'm gonna keep that up. But at the end of the day, for me, it's like, nah, this is my authentic joy because this is what's important to me. If I have a child, that's gonna be obnoxiously what I do. But I think it's more important for people to understand the importance of social media as a buffer. Like, it's just a story, but at the same time, just bringing it back and finishing over on my major point is like, it's just a part of it. It's literally just a part of what you do. It's not the relationship, because then you get caught up with being the Joneses or AJ and his girl's doing this. It's not. It's like, oh, I have this memory saved. Like, this is another layer. Like, we're making it more fun. And I think once you get away from that, then it's an issue. But that's more or less just for me, where I'm just kind of like, I will be obnoxious. You know, especially if I get a baddie. I'm going to be obnoxious.
Let them know.
Oh my God. But no, I appreciate that. So,
Of course.
with all that being said, we got to close out the show today. We got some church announcements.
Oh, you come to me.
Back to you, Andy. Back to you, Ollie.
Yeah, church announcements.
I don't have any church announcements, my brother. I think, we just here to survive. Make it day after day.
You are a sad, strange
Shout out
little
to all the
man.
people that support me.
Farewell.
Church announcements. This has already been pre-recorded probably already, but shout out to the, backseat critics. They have returned,
Oh, okay.
So, if you made it this far in the video, we working out with them. Shout out to, Mackey's World. He was back. And then shout out to, Race Yourself, they on their way. So shout out to Big Church Announcements. They got some things on the way.
3 episodes preloaded. Just need to be edited. We're good to go.
Yeah. How did I know this, Bankai? But anywho, I
I think that's Sharingan.
Exactly. And then, if you've made it this far in the video, I got a special
Anime.
announcement for y'all. This is a big
Y'all
church
anime
announcement.
fans, man.
Big church announcement. And that big church announcement is, if you watch this show right now, if you made it this far in the video, if you listen this far and you screenshot this moment right now, I will give you an additional raffle for AOD exclusive care package that we will be auctioning on the show.
Hey.
Hey.
If you screenshot this moment, and I know the time because I'll edit it.
Screenshot this moment. Hey,
Screenshot
tap in with them.
We're gonna have
above our differences, man.
exclusive ALD care package, and that's the big church announcement. If you're a devout listener, you get to know ahead of time before we announce it on the page. So screenshot this.
I love that.
Oh man, and the package is a nice package. So make sure you really
Pause.
like. Pause, big pause. But it's well worth it. I think
Farewell.
you will not be hurting by the package.
Actually, let me hit him up. Let me hit him up with the brat. What will be in that package is an exclusive.
Oh, you gonna tell them?
I'm telling them.
Why?
If they made it this far, we know they ain't gonna make it this far.
Oh my God.
We'll just say this. It's an exclusive bucket hat. And then it's going to be multiple things. I just know 2 of the things in there. We got AOD bucket hat. And then we got the most lucrative exclusive Love Don't Cost a Thing tee that's going to be in there.
Oh, okay.
I know a lot of y'all niggas wanted that tee. We got one special.
You gotta play the fire soundbite.
I got to refresh out of them. But
that Michael Bay. That.
no, I gotta talk to him about a Michael Bay sound. But Jordan, it was awesome having you here, my man.
It was a pleasure, my guys.
Definitely gotta have you back on for when we do panels. The last episode panel, I've been editing it. It's real smooth. I like
Okay.
I like where it's going. I think you'll enjoy it too as well.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all having me.
Before we get up out of here, you gotta let the people know how they can find you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can find me on the gram primarily at Lordanjat. It's Pig Latin, so LORDANJAT. JATT. I can put it down here somewhere. But yeah, tap in with me. And like I said, man, if you're transitioning out of that phase, out of college athletics or something like that, and you want to get tapped in, if I don't got the answers, I know who does. So yeah, I'm always willing to help people out.
Sway had the answers.
That's a great that's a great man right there to listen to, man.
Yes,
that's
sir.
a great man. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
All right. This has been the Play No Games podcast /show. I'm Rob.
I'm Arthur.
And this is my main man Jordan, and we are
Peace.
Probably wondering if I think of you. Sorry, I'm for the bag right now. Yeah, I'm for the bag right now. Yeah, for the bag that I never had. Yeah, you probably mad right now. Yeah, I got a 2-piece now. But shit, I think they call them groupies now.